an erection. A huge...
Get out of my face.
If there's one truth in the cosmos, one cosmic truth, the truth is...
And get out of my face. Get out of my fucking face.
Invitation, but after watching some of your YouTube video, I don't think I would fit into the swimming pool very well. Wonder why he says that. Again, thanks for the invitation and good luck in your creative endeavors. Sincerely, Michael Aquino. Oh, not every day you get a letter from Michael Aquino. Yeah. Oh, all right.
How you doing? Ayin here with another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do.
We get into this carriage and go for a ride. We got the green light now, let's go. There's nothing left to decide. With all our foolish fears we left behind us with friends. We'll catch back up with them when the word comes to an end. To pass. The old ways were both with one foot in the grave. They were never meant to last. And now we've got a new enzyme. We sail the seven seas until the end of time. Headed to a storm, it's plain for all to see. They are the masters of their ship, but not their destiny. And you don't need no spaceship ticket to go. They'll file into their jump rooms until the gold mine begins to flow. You don't need no confirmation to pass. The old ways were born with one foot in the grave. They were never meant to last. And now we've got a new
So then
imagination.
this is the kind of person that can walk in and dominate a room.
Oh no! That's doesn't even have to try. No, no. That's putting it lightly.
I know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what
And
you're
every
talking about.
man,
I have a book called
a man-
Practical Witchery, and in fact, the trait is called domination. And in fact, I even give exercises as how you can develop your ability to do that.
Well, now I believe it or not, somehow do that myself, but not in the same way that she does.
A lot
obviously.
of us do. In some cases, it's a genetic thing. It's kind of like, look, if you're Cro-Magnon, I don't care whether you're Negroid, Asiatic, white, or whatever, Native American. If you're Cro-Magnon, period, you're this level of human being. You have a large portion of what you would call a Nordic alien DNA. It's what makes you. This is why we all look like this, and me a little more so than most people. I didn't know how much so. I thought I was pretty much like everybody else, and I couldn't understand why I was surviving things that none of my peers did. And still going on, and still a major problem for people that try to handle me. And like I say, the last couple of years, when 2014, when that MRI's come out, and it's kind of like, okay, what's your problem? Here they are. This is unbelievable. But it's here. There's no denying it. It's not your imagination.
Right.
It's not somebody arm twisting this to mean that. This is what it is physically. Plus nothing, minus nothing. It's exactly what it is. And then this ET connection, this extra dimensional, like I say, just ET alone doesn't describe it. Yeah. And as to extra dimensionality, in 3D, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line.
That's
You'd be
Euclidean
talking all this 3D crap
geometry.
about it's too damn many light years away. They'd never survive the long trip. You could never travel that path. But in 5D, the shortest distance between 2 points is a fold.
Yeah, you just fold the map together, just like
We're
and then
there,
put it there,
yeah.
there. Yeah, right. Mhm.
Step across, you're there. I've done rifting. I've done all of this stuff my whole life. As it turns out, I'm genetically related to those ETs that don't even need flying saucers. However, I am nowhere near that good or that evolved, but I have my moments that just blow people's mind. I got pictures of other worlds that should be this world, and I never left in a spaceship, though I have been in spaceships before, but I thought that was my imagination. Nice dream,
Mm-hmm.
Take you, show you some stuff, teach you some things, call in a few friends, visit, that kind of stuff. This is the kind of things I went through as a child. And other nights I had a Fey mentor that came and got me, and we'd go out and he'd teach me different things about in different worlds and different, well, actually,
What did he look like?
Huh?
What did he
He looked a lot like me, only more extreme, pointed ears, taller. He was about 7 foot tall. His hair was very, very blonde. Mine was very blonde back then, too. His skin was more flushed and red than mine. Mm-hmm. He had kind of gold irises.
Fascinating.
Yeah. We call him Shabby. His real name is actually found in a demon handbook, and it does have some influence with him. So we like calling him Shabby. It offends his sensibilities. He's since been, I'd say, evacuated, but that don't last for long. They come back around. He just can't have me anymore.
Right. So his name appears in one of the ancient grimoires from the Renaissance.
Shabri.
Huh?
Shabrii.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that. That's one of the Shimhamferish, right? Of the grimoires. Yeah, one of the 72. Yeah. And the only reason
I'm not that kind of witch, though. I'm a Danaan witch, and it's not the same as the Crowley, and everybody likes to bring that up, and it's like, you don't understand, out of the 200 original Weirding clans, the 13 Illuminist clans are only 13 of those. The other 187 represent a lot of other cultures, and just as ancient, and that there has been a hodgepodge of visitors on this planet and advanced races through the billions of years of its existence. And we are like offscouring of that, but we have a genetic mix of a lot of it.
You know,
Yeah.
you see the picture of me and Duncan, and that, yes, I'm very, very tall. Very, and, you know, the funny thing is, though, as ultras, he's second generation. I'm first.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm what the Nazis thought was like the perfect Superman.
Of
the
course.
Aryan Superman, you know, tall, blonde, blue-eyed, genius, extra strong. Duncan can lift probably 25% more than I can, maybe more. I can lift a lot. He's actually physically stronger. He's actually heals faster than I do, and I heal very fast. Even as a severe diabetic now, I heal faster than most people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can believe that. Just out of whatever, just on a side note, I am freakishly strong. And when you said something about like being like the other kids, and I personally, I always, I felt different. I knew I was different from the other kids. Always, I knew that, and even to this day. But when I was a very young child, I'm not going to, you give the whole story or bore you with that. Mm-hmm. But I was given my life what it would be like in 4 stages. And so I've had this conviction my whole life. But anyway, the 4th stage, I'm in the 3rd stage right now, but the 4th stage that I somehow still have this conviction because it was put in before I was even too young to understand these things, that I am to be a world leader.
Yeah, me, I'm to avoid being a leader because nobody can follow me. I can go places you can't, and you can't survive. And I can walk back out and come back, and it's kind of like you just shouldn't go. It's crazy. Talk about where angels fear to tread, but actually the angels don't fear to tread. That's pretty much their highway, if you want to call them that. But
have any of these missions been blocked from your memory? I know they try to do that, but you're making it sound like that shit works better on some people than it does on others, and it kind of didn't work that good on you.
Actually, I remember. I thought I remembered absolutely everything of all of mine, but with the ET revelations the last couple of years there, I'm finding out that some of what I thought or what I passed off as just imagination or dream wasn't, or very likely wasn't. And then I had some physical confirmation here in Vegas. I actually got to meet a tall white. Kind of blew my. I was expecting to, because I was putting it out that I wanted to meet somebody. We got to have a meeting. None of this voices in the head. I'm an ultra. It is never a good thing for an ultra to start responding to voices in his head.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, I can imagine.
I hear them. I know. It's kind of, yes, I hear, but I know what to ignore. That's the thing about being an evolved, sophisticated human soul. You can entertain an idea without acting upon it.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Or you can hear the voices and ignore them. And
that is the worst idea I ever heard. You know, and then I'm not going to do it. You know, and it's like,
you're not going to do what? Problem. Ignore it?
Oh, I can pass it. I can. They're easy to break. Once you understand what they are, they're easy to just pass off. And I mean,
I haven't heard any voices in my head, but I've already, knowing what I'm doing with these videos and knowing that I may someday be targeted, I've already decided that if I do start hearing voices in my head, I'm not going to, that ain't going to phase, that ain't going to phase me.
Don't let it freak you, because there is the honest telepaths amongst these ET types. And you know, I really don't like using ET, but what else are we going to call them?
Right.
You know, just something so we know what we're talking about. It's so freaking generic, it's like Kleenex. But you know, there are telepathic types among them that only speak telepathic, don't have the freaking equipment to do the noise. But there's
also voice to skull technology, which is very real.
Exactly. There's both. So me, it's kind of like I am not responding. You know, I hear you. You're talking to me. You're telling me this. I hear everything you're saying. They're trying to fill me in on questions I had. Me and Linda Howe are talking about a lot of this stuff, and we're going over, and it's kind of like, wow, that is real. That wasn't my imagination. The birthmark on my leg, me, it was kind of like a Harry Potter thing my whole life. Kind of like he has a sigil on his head. I've got Dag, breakthrough, on my leg. I was born July 31st. I was conceived Halloween night and born the eve of Lammas. And I'm a witch's witch. What else would you expect? I got my Harry Potter mark. Harry Potter and J.K. Rowling, born July 31st. It's kind of like, all right, this is our little thing. All right, This is good. This is what I'm thinking. But then, I get with Linda and I'm describing things, and some things that seem kind of innocuous and don't quite make sense with other things. And then I'm finding out people all over the world that are describing exactly the same thing, exactly the same people, telling them the same things and doing the same things and showing it. And it's like, okay, I'm in contact. I'm in more than in contact, because I should have a freaking stamp on my head that says Intel inside, or freaking stock in Radio Shack or something. I am so loaded with implants. I didn't believe there was that many, or that anybody was. It's like, I'm still incredulous, but I can't deny it.
Yeah, and it's amazing how much you've learned. It sounds like just in the last couple of years.
So let me tell you about the meeting with I'm taking a walk. You want to walk out at nights? It's cooler. So I take a walk out in the evenings around Vegas, and I need my exercise. I'm bedridden most of the time. I'm in bed now, but I'm up and dressed and doing things. But so I'm up and I'm walking around, and it's kind of like, all right, I'm going to see. I'm looking for tall blondes like me. And sure enough, as I'm walking, well, I did this more than one night. It didn't just happen right away, And I'm out there, and this one night, and this tall, kind of sandy blonde looking guy with these Coke bottle glasses. You got to picture these Coke bottle glasses, okay? Because this is the part that really kicked me. Got these Coke bottle glasses, look like magnifying glasses. He walks up. We're on the corner, about ready to cross West Craig Road here in Vegas. And and I'm talking to him. Yeah, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. And he says his name's William. And okay, so William and I are standing under this street light there on West Craig, and he takes off these Coke bottle glasses, pulls out his handkerchief, and he's cleaning off the lens. I'm looking at his hands while he's doing it, and I see the handkerchief in his fingers through the glasses. And you figure, as thick as these glasses are to make his eyes look so big, that his fingers got to look like magnifying glass, right? His fingers look like he's washing off window pane. There's no difference, no distortion. And I look back up at his face, and his eyes are still as freaking big.
Oh my God!
It's all white.
Wow.
Have you ever seen Star Trek, the new one with Chris Pine as Jim Kirk? In the beginning of the movie, where Jim Kirk is about to be born, there's a nurse helping deliver deliver him as a baby in there. That's what a tall white looks like. And they could be blonde, redhead, brune. No, I haven't seen any really dark, maybe a light browns, usually pale skin. Hey, if they put on sunglasses or, whatever, or what, they go, what? You'd never know. And there's the Nordic ones, just like me. Except
just like regular people.
I just been through 500 miles of hard road, and they haven't lived the kind of life that I live.
Yeah, they've got all the rejuvenation type stuff.
And I've been a very martial, very warlike, in fact, I constantly get, not berated, but they talk to me about my very, very warlike way. And I have, over the decades, been, mellowing down. This is the kind of man that I want to be, not that. I don't want to be no raging monster. I never did. And they're kind of, yeah, but you still look at things as kind of, and this is the world we're in. I got spooks making my life miserable. And
yeah.
My friends.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you're talking about, because that's extreme. But I myself am a 2-time loser, and I think for programming purposes was put in prison, twice. So I know a little bit about fear, overcoming fear and violence and shit like this. 1 second.
Yep. What was?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, and it is a special honor to have you on the show today, because I always kind of admired fighting guys and stuff like that. The adventure stories and everything like that, and my audience kind of sees me as a little bit of a tough guy. But it's not. It's it's just cool to have somebody like you on the show.
Yeah, that's what I've met Norris before. I've met a lot of the top martial artists. Well, you got to understand, I was kind of the '70s was my genre.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't meet Bruce Lee, but his best friend and student Danny Inosanto taught me my short punch. The same little punch that allowed me to whack down a tree from just a few inches away. I've met a lot of the best martial arts masters of the time back in the '70s. Masaya Mas, Fujimura. He's the 34th Grandmaster of the Tokugari Ninja, Dr. Hasumi Masaaki. Met some great people.
What is it with that short punch? There's more than something physical going on there.
Oh, there is, but there's very much physical into it. But it's in the focus of it. I teach that, and one called the Jedi Finger Flick. It's a nickname we gave a technique that just looked like somebody got flicked between the eyes. But check out my Storm 53. Is it? Yeah, Storm 53. Storm is with 2 M's.
Okay, are these YouTube videos?
YouTube channel.
Oh,
yeah.
YouTube channel. Okay, you bet.
You're right. Yeah, I have some videos that I put out for people to so you could train to do some of it. It's probably not going to be exactly like I can knock down a tree, but you're going to do a lot more than you thought you could.
Now, does it show? I think you're probably,
does it
show lethal moves?
I wish I had the GIF right now. I got one of my nephew knocking down trees with me. He doesn't believe he's an ultra. He's retired from Iraq. He's only been there a couple of years. He's retired. He gets several grand a month. He's really fucked up in the head.
Oh,
all right. Goes to the VA all the time for all kinds of different stuff. He's not bad. He left his family and ran away to a woman that's got more kids than he already had.
Oh my gosh.
Just nuts. And I've been teaching him since he was a little boy. I got pictures of me teaching him nunchucks when he was just old enough to stand. Okay. And now I got pictures of him knocking down trees with me at witch camp, because we knock down the dead ones to break them into firewood. And that's where we practice full power moves. So he'd been trained, and it's like, you realize you were probably I didn't know it, but you were probably in the ultra. Nah. And you're out of the military now, and they're giving you all this stuff and that, and you're getting how much a month? And I would have only got so much. It's kind of, no, there's something more to this than
he may still be doing missions or something and not know it. Maybe. I don't know.
It is very likely he is so used. It's like when he sees something on TV, if they make a brand new Xbox, he will be in line overnight to be the first one on his block to get one. And then if they come out with a gamepad with a cup holder in it, he will wait again in line at night, all night long, to be the first on his block to have a game platform with a cup holder. He is such a consumer.
Yeah, but those also have the specialized mind control shit that they can send him.
Yeah. He's very susceptible to it. It's kind of like loud and clear.
Yeah, some people tried to program me.
He'll buy 12 copies of Catcher in the Rye on the way home, too.
Yeah. So I feel like some people tried to program me, and when I went to Denver recently, and I didn't really know the reason I went, but you were talking about these shamanistic practices, and my audience knows this, but this is just to fill you in a little bit. I did do the ayahuasca ritual there in Peru 2 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's one of my bucket list items.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then also, my real name, Durward, my first name, Durward, that is the real word for druid. It's like a Scot word and everything. So I resonate with the shamanistic druid type thing, but I am a member, which is the... you know what that is with the Crowley and all that, yeah. So, and that's just something I don't speak about very often. I mean, it's neither here nor there, but it's just a part of my story.
I had to study that when I was younger. I mean, Crowley and all, Golden Dawn and that. But Golden Dawn has been a Rothschild coven since its inception. Like I say, the 200 original weirding families, the 13 most powerful are the Illuminist clans. But that leaves 187 other clans, and we've mixed over the generations. and that the Denayan class. Some of us they've gotten rid of by hook or crook or skullduggery or persecution and ethnic cleansing and all this other kind of stuff. But there's still others of us out there, yourself included, myself, others of us that we're not witches because we practice magic. We're witches because we are magic, and we're only understanding ourselves.
That's right, and that's why.
All right, now how you use it and what you do with it, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just you.
Yeah.
And if you're good or bad or whatever, it's going to, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever is in your heart is going to manifest itself around you, and everything you do, everything you say.
You're absolutely right. And that's one reason I haven't progressed very far in the order, simply because I don't need to. It's just like, Lon Duquette, who writes books for the order and stuff, he talks about a natural magician.
One of the things I had a problem with a lot of the Illuminists and the Warlock clans is, for one, all right, when they got that way, they would allow people to go so far. And for one, if you had somebody like a master like me over you, it's kind of like the Sith thing, where I don't let you get past a certain point, or basically you're going to shine me down, and this is a bad thing. So as long as I'm alive, you will only go so far and no further. Everything is compartmentalized. Whether you're talking about Masons, Pentagon, spooks, whatever, they're all the same people. Vatican, Jesuit, all of them. They practice that same hierarchy the same way.
Yeah,
Now, we as witches, we practice in a circle. You don't stand at the top between the altar and the congregation. You are there with the congregation. We all share the warmth around the fire. There's no beginning.
You
no
actually
end.
want the people to progress.
Right. And if you can excel me, if I teach you something and you can excel me, to me, this is good karma.
Yeah.
I help make this beautiful thing. I help make this beautiful sibling shine. And it's kind of like I stand before the Father of all spirits. Look what I did with little brother there. And wow, look at him shine, man. I never shine like that. But boy, look at him go with it, And that's taking a gift and making it better. The greatest gift given to men and angels is to heal pain and suffering and bring joy.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And to do that, you've got to care.
Trees and telephone poles. I get hit by cars and walk away. All of the other kind of stuff. But the greatest power of all, it's the one that keeps getting me up time after time. I get shot, get blown away, get poisoned, get sick beyond belief. I used to have a girlfriend. She died in a car accident a couple of years ago, but we used to argue for years. She was like a confidant. We weren't lovers, but I knew her since she was a little girl. I was always kind of like the hero, everybody's big brother in the neighborhood. And she'd say, "You're immortal." And I'd think like Duncan MacLeod, Highlander. And no, I'm sure I can die. I have been butchered up pretty bad. I've been on death's door, across it and back a couple times. I'm pretty sure if they just left me alone, I'd just be worm food. Yeah, I can die. And she'd say, no, something always happens. You get there and every time. And it's been a lot of times. And it's kind of like I get the feeling that I am definitely not going before, no matter what, am going before my time.
No, you're not. And you're doing a big or bigger job or whatever for humanity right now than you ever have been.
That's another thing they told me. They told me, and they told me to tell Medicine Berries, the people I stay with here, help take care of me. They're also from the Ultra program. Not quite to my extent, but still, and is that I lost my train of thought there.
Well, it's your purpose that you're transmitting this information to the humanity.
Yeah. They said he'd be more of a war hero or a greater warrior, and me too. Than as far as they're concerned, my glory days have not yet happened, and it's kind of like, do you know what I lived through? What I've been through? I have a lot of survivor's guilt. More than anything, I've got survivor's guilt.
Wow. So it's survivor's guilt as opposed to like killer's guilt? I'm just asking.
No, not much in the line of killer's guilt. Do I remember the last expression on every face I punched? You know, that look they get as their eyes turn black when you just broke their nose and they're falling back. I didn't think he'd hit me, or what just hit me, you know? Was that a meteor or what, you know? Those looks, it's kind of comic. I wish I could publish. Some of them would be kind of funny. Some of them maybe not so much, and inside myself, call myself a bit of a, it's kind of like the white dog and the black dog. I keep the black dog on a real short, strong chain.
Right.
You know, there's times you can let the dogs out, but if he just turns around and nails somebody accidentally, sorry, ain't going to cover it. You can't take it back.
That's right.
So it's kind of one of those deals.
You've got added responsibility. Even in your apparent condition right now, you could probably kill just about anybody.
Oh, I don't doubt it. We've had cops come up here try to harass us. Believe me, I've sent them without having to get to. I've sent them out. They don't like to come around here anymore, which is a good thing because now they leave us alone.
That's good. And
they were shakedown crap. They leave off of that.
They were targeting you, trying to harass you.
Oh, shaking us down regular. Actually, they were getting shakedown regular even before I got here. And then after I got here, they're coming in here. I got a rubber practice knife. You can't have that. And it's kind of like, I train people with it, and it's kind of like, it's deadly. And it's kind of like, that rubber knife is the least deadly thing in my room. For over half a century, when I would train students and break out that rubber knife, they knew damn well they weren't going to get cut. But when they walk away, they were going to know how to get rid of one of those real son of a bitches.
Exactly, yeah.
If somebody ever pulled one on them.
Exactly.
You know, how is it you're afraid of it, you know? And he's giving me all kinds of, like, oh, no. Don't you come in here treating me like some kind of high school dropout. Of the 3 degrees I got, 2 of them are doctorates. What do you got, a GED?
Right.
You're standing, you look like you're going to check out my freaking bed like, do I got a tail light out at a traffic stop or something?
Right. And they're probably young enough to be your children, if not your grandchildren.
They're younger than my kids. Bear's young enough to be my kids. They're young enough to almost be, not quite grandkids, but.
Yeah. And so do you do any type of martial arts instruction anymore? Even verbal?
I got a guy coming out in about a month or so. I want to train. I want to train him in the whole mindset. Physical training, he's going to have to do most of his own, but I can show him how and what develops what. I don't like even with spells, I don't like people looking up spell for this or spell for that. You got to understand what's happening and design the spell for these circumstances. No generic crap, because more often than not, that puts more people into more trouble than they were before they started.
Right.
So same with martial arts and stuff like that. I want them to understand the premises, the dynamics, what makes these moves work, the psychology behind it, the ultra concepts, the same things. We literally, I didn't write the book, but I helped rewrite some of the chapters. Like I am historic. When we were learning this stuff in the 70s, we were getting all kinds of ideas. What succeeded, you come back, you train the rest. This is what I did. They gave me these Berlitz, like sleep teaching things for learning Russian and German before they sent me out on a job one time. And I look very young, or I did then. I always look about 10 years younger than I was. All right. But so I look like any other German kid. But I'm out there, I got girlfriends and guys, I'm fairly popular, do the martial arts and the tournaments and stuff like that. But I learned some things because they taught me German in my sleep, but it's like high school German. So you're in there, I got to get up close to this guy I do got to knock out. All right. I got to bind him up and I got to get in and get some information and find out.
Okay.
It's a problem it's in Karlsruhe, Germany. It's near an American base. Somebody's stealing stuff and got a black market thing going on. I got to find out who it is. But I got to look like some of the German kids hanging around the base. So I'm speaking German, and I do speak it with a German accent or a Bavarian accent. However, it's kind of like the guy comes up and he suspects I might be that American kid from the tournament, and I have to throw him off with the other kids. Now, the proper response, spy school, to say is not to stand there and deny it outright, because obviously they're already set not to believe you, but to say something else. It's like gaslighting. Say, are you crazy? You know, and the German they gave me would be bist du verrückt? And but if I said that, it's kind of like when you have somebody talking on the phone, and he must be Indian descent or Hindu descent because his English is so flawless. All right, it's not the same English you talk.
Right.
That's not the same German they talk. That same German the kids talk.
Right.
So I learned from when they were asking, "Are you crazy?" They say, "Hast du einen Sprung in der Schüssel?" And say that instead. Find out what the kids are saying and say that. And sure enough, when I got up there, this guy, he suspected me, and I didn't say what I was told to say. I said what the kids said.
Yeah.
And I got away with it.
There you go.
And I came back and I shared that, and that. So we rewrote when the martial arts. We start training when they weren't sending me on active missions of my own, or I wouldn't take some. I didn't like Angola. Wouldn't go. There's certain places I wouldn't touch because it just didn't smell right. And my conscience. This is why I can still sleep so good. My conscience isn't going to let me get away with that. So part of their handling me is they got to make me totally believe and buy into what I'm doing. And if it stinks, something's not going to go right. It's not going to set well.
Yeah. They're going to want you to kill civilians or something like that.
A lot of stuff. But on me, so you got a lot of people that believe a lot of stuff. They're telling you if they were sitting down on a polygraph, they'd probably be registering as telling the truth too. You could hypnotize them. They tell you the same thing because this is what they see. This is the screen they were given. Now, look, when I get out and I can tell you exactly, check my videos on my page, but they'll put out ridiculous for every one like mine. There's 15 ridiculous stories where after a while, if you're listening to this, what's the truth? You don't want to listen anymore. Me, I'm lost in the crowd. A guy that punches down trees, gets hit by cars, and walks away at 65 years old. Yeah, nah, not going to happen. And it's kind of like, it happens every damn day of my life, one way or another. But
there's something else. There's something going on. There's a Matrix-like aspect.
Because we end up apologizing for flying off the handle about something or being too sensitive about something else. And it's kind of like, look, we're all damaged. I don't care who you are. When somebody took what God made, the Creator made, and decided they were going to make it better, and it was another human being, and he's not even as smart as I am. These guys that were telling me that we're better than, they didn't want me marching with civil rights crowds back in the 60s because we're not like those people. And it's kind of like, I'm not like you people.
Yeah.
And thank God.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at this guy, I see a cold-blooded lizard, but not like.
No, I get you. Yeah. Idealized or, archetypal.
Yeah. They're like that. They're cold fish. And,
they don't
it's
have
like,
any imagination, do they?
Huh?
They don't have any imagination, do they?
No imagination. Actually, I don't think they got souls quite like us.
They don't?
Because they don't have the empathy. The empathy is the thing that when I do something to somebody else, I can't hurt you without hurting me. Right. Somehow or another, I hurt. And I mean in a real way. It's just, in ways that it affects my life, ways it affects the outcome of things.
That's fascinating that you bring that up because that's this idea about me being a world leader. And the thing is, they could put, somebody said, they could put a psychopath up there. They can't because that's against the rules. They've got to put somebody in these positions, not in all the times, because they do put psychopaths in these positions, obviously. But for some roles,
they don't. Sociopaths are wonderful for this.
Oh, yeah.
Like the wooden puppets, you can pull their strings. They'll sell their grandmother by the pound. And the only way they will feel any guilt or any remorse is if one of their friends gets more for their grandmother.
Yeah.
And they find out they cheaped out.
Yes, and somehow I feel like that there are certain roles where they can't put people like that in, and they have to only put in a person that dies themselves for every human life that's lost.
They could never be leaders. For one, they could never connect with the populace, and they don't. Look how crazy everything and disconnected Our whole world is. I mean, they're killing people and, sending $1 million missiles to blow up people in $10 tents that look like their turban might be too tight. And they don't like Americans, realizing that, gee, I'll bet they don't. If somebody blew my house apart or killed my neighbor down the street and then double tapped the people trying to pull out the survivors, I wouldn't like I would make it my life's work to destroy the people that did that to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're creating this anti-American thing.
Yeah. We're all just by not being out on the streets picketing against
people
it. We're
can
all
do that and not blink and still pay tax dollars and be okay with that.
Are you talking about the average American?
I'm talking about anybody that thought about it or gave it as to exactly what
they have.
The average American isn't always aware of that. He hasn't connected that. He's disconnected from it
because they don't want to. They don't want to. It's not that hard to figure it out.
But it doesn't matter if I take my hand and I pick up a gun and I go like this and I blow out my neighbor's brains. Doesn't mean that I didn't blow out my neighbor's brains.
Right.
Okay. So the fact that they paid their taxes doesn't mean all those people ain't dying, all their children ain't freaking out every time they hear something in the sky or see a shadow pass overhead, or all the things they've done. Or how about the depleted uranium dust where for at least 1 billion years afterwards, nobody's going to have genetically clean children or babies. They're going to have heartbreak for generations to come. Who does that? And they got money for it, millions and billions and trillions for all of this stuff. And they do that. These are not human beings such as we classify human beings. And you have to go, because of the ET issue, you have to be a much broader idea of what a human being is than you formerly thought. But even so, these people at the top, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, all these, they are not the same. They do not have.
They're not like us.
No, they're not like us at all.
They may have started off like us thousands of years ago.
No, they said, the old psalm, I said ye are gods. I believe we are. I believe I didn't most of my life, but things coming to pass as they have been and the purposes that I'm seeing, it's kind of like, okay, this is the shit that Greeks wrote about. All right, like heroic freaking epics with Hercules and stuff like that. This is beginning. Grandma made sure I had a classical education. And when I look back on things start to look a little bit, not exactly, but on the same venue. All right, the same kind of torments and things and lessons are being learned and growth is being in spite of odds. And it's just, wow, when will it end? How sooner or later, I figured most of my missions, I figured I might not come back alive. I was pretty much good with that. I mean, not that I was going to do that. I was going to do my very best, but chances are I wouldn't live. And I thought I spent my life well. As for what it was not like yours. It was not like as soft, and I would have liked it to have been, but it never was, and it always alienated me worse, and I could blend in for a little while, but sooner or later something's going to happen to require me to focus my attention to such a degree, something's going to happen, and everybody's going to say, what the fuck happened to him?
Yeah, you're different.
Very.
And not only that, you may have been different from the get-go.
Yeah, and this last hospital trip, 2-month stay, pretty much proved that. Nobody, not one doctor of the 14 sending me freaking bills today, it will ever argue that point.
Right.
Live through things nobody should live through, healed and got up and walked away. Not just up and walked away. It took me a couple of weeks to retrain my muscles in my body. I couldn't even find my own mouth with my spoon when I got out of the coma. There was a lady, doctor says, look, he says, this lady, she's been 3 days, your glucose when you came in was over 1,500. All right. Her glucose was over 1,800 or over 800. She had been in a coma 3 days, and that woman will never be the same again. That woman died about 2 nights later. All right. I was twice her glucose and in a coma for 10 days. And I was up and walking out of there, and there's people that's been in there for 6 months still working at it. I mean, everybody's making progress. It's a great place, but I thought at first I thought it was MK Ultra, but it turned out to be one of the nicest hospitals I ever been in.
That's awesome. Well, you needed a break on those hospitals, didn't you?
Huh?
You needed a break on those hospitals, didn't you?
And there was something else going on, that extra dimensional stuff.
Of course.
There was things going on while I was in that coma. The doctor said I went into organ failure. This killed me. My liver, kidneys, all that shit shut down. Then they start back up again. My kidneys are at 25%. Couple hours later, 38%. Couple hours later, 47%. By the end of the day, 95%. Who does that?
It's a fucking miracle. It's a medical miracle.
To me about my family, and I had to tell them about my MK Ultra experience. And they kind of looked at me for a minute, and they says, "Okay, we'll come right back." They went away. They came back later. They says, "Okay, we're not doing this, and this. We're going with this program, more aggressive, a lot more aggressive."
They went and got the information from somebody. Somebody told them what to do.
Well, this is Vegas, Area 51. I got evidently ET relations of one sort or another, all too damn close. Some of them ain't on the same side, though.
Oh, what, some of the aliens?
Yeah.
Some
of them are, really in cahoots with other. The tall whites, they deal with them. They even trade technology, and Uncle Sam Boeing and that actually makes parts for their at least what crafts land and stuff. But they're still on the base in that, and still, the government tries to manipulate them, but these guys are smarter than them, so.
And they're psychic.
Yeah, and they're psychic.
They can read your mind.
About telepaths, you can't lie.
Yeah.
Now, this is the thing. William makes an arrangement. He says, "Okay, we'll get another talk." Now, I do not, as far as I was concerned, I would have normally have thought that I just went to bed and went to sleep and had a dream about a much, much taller white. Now, I didn't know this at the time. I had to look stuff up. All right. I actually talked.
You know why he was much taller, though, don't you?
Huh?
You know why he was much taller, don't you?
He was older.
Yeah,
he was
because
older.
their age. They get to a certain age when they just start growing.
That.
Yeah.
And Linda Howe had to tell me, because he's supposed to be but he's like about 9 feet tall.
Yeah, they have to have somebody help them.
You're in a place, you got a floor, you got things sticking up out of the floor, you got kind of shimmerings going around, so different parts of the room are partitioned somehow from other. I suspect a force field. It doesn't look like there's a wall. It looks like you're in a planetarium. All right, you're seeing stars and nebulas and stuff like that out there, or whatever. And there's this big, tall, blonde guy talking to him. He didn't have any hair. He lost his hair by this time, or most of it. But I'm talking to him, and I got issues. It's like, okay, you guys are telling me I chose it. I'm telling you, I got messed up. There's human implants in me. There's alien implants in me. The humans are messing with me something awful. They got only evil intentions. They're messing with everybody else. They're doing this. They're causing this harm. I got all of these issues that we got to talk about. We got to, and it's kind of like, so I get all of this out. He turns around. Now, there's a whole bunch of these others, and I can't hardly begin to describe, I want to say a crowd, let's say a panel of aliens. But most of them hardly even look humanoid. Some do, some a lot less so. It could have been freaking Star Wars Cantina. Actually,
on steroids.
Really weirder than that.
Yeah,
honestly.
on steroids. Star Wars Cantina on steroids.
Yeah. And so they're sitting over there. Whoever they are, they're very worthy people. And I kind of got the feeling that if I wanted to jump and attack, because it's a thing that always crosses my mind, but I don't always do. Anytime you're dealing with an ultra, the idea of sudden death is always on the menu. It may not be the choice of the day, but it is on the menu. Always.
And so they're thinking about it in their mind.
So there I am. I'm thinking of it. It crossed my mind. They picked up on that. I thought I'd bounce off that thing for sure or get fried by it. But I wasn't going to attack anybody anyway. Yeah, so I waited for him. He turned around and addressed them because I don't know who those guys are from Adam. I'm talking to him. I need some answers. There's just so much I got to know. And he turns around and he says, "This is John Stormm of Procyon." And it's like, I'm standing there, I'm looking, I watched him say this, but he didn't say it with his mouth. But I mean, I'm watching this go on, and they're kind of like nodding. They're good with this. Like, this explains something to them.
From Aposia?
I thought I was born in Cleveland.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, yeah. What the hell's going on here? Yeah.
So there's this story is very, very involved. Evidently, there had been Pleiadians and Procyon, the same people. Procyon is a later colony of the Pleiadians. Yeah, same people during a war they had with Draconians. I don't understand the whole thing. There's so many different peoples and factions. There's no one simple, easy. Because even there's good ones and bad ones and indifference, and it's confuddled. They were, and eventually they came to Earth probably before or during the Draconians or the lizard ones. They've been here a long time. They NETs, they're more to here than we are, native to Earth than we are, to be honest. But evidently they'd come to Earth and they had a different name for it. This was Mother Danu. They settled the area. I've actually written papers on this in cultural anthropology. The Tuatha Dene and the children of Danu settled the Danube River Valley in the before the blind ecclesiastic.
Yeah, and that's where we get the idea of the tribe of Dan, from the Israelites.
Very much, very much. These are the tall blondes with these incredibly great talents and arts and all this other kind of stuff. And and the witchery and all this, and that's kind of the culture and everything that I came. But they went native, and evidently, as far as my family's concerned, part of it's been here for those generations from that. Part of my mother's paternal grandfather was part of a group that had broken off that was known in Roosevelt's time. I'm not talking about Franklin, I'm talking about Teddy, that a group of Danaans that went native. They knew about, our government knew about, all right? And they just basically blended in with everybody else. We're biologically compatible, everything. We're the same people, just a little mixed here and there. And my father, I don't know if he's full blood or what, but he got taken out of the picture before I was born, never allowed to meet me never allowed to, my family. There was like 5 different lies they'd tell me about him, and just trying to figure out who my dad was.
You never met him?
No, never. I found his, I was doing some checking and that, and I found that he died when I was about 16. They told me he died before I was born. But he died when I was about 16. He died in Corpus Christi, Texas. I do not know of what or anything else beyond that. There's no anything beyond that record. Hidden's his name, his social security number, his time of death, and where, but that's it. I bet you, obviously I look a lot like my mother, but there's things I am not like my half sisters or my half brother. I am like 2 or 3 times. My lowest score in college was 94. My average was more like about 106 because they'd give extra, to keep a bell curve, they'd give extra credit questions. And,
so you were an excellent student in school.
Twice because they thought I was cheating.
Yeah.
But I was retaining it. I didn't know what, I knew why, how this information interrelated with that information, and it made perfect sense. And you could phrase the question any way, and I'm going to respond.
So you're on paper and in reality, basically, at the very least, a genius level.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I thought I was losing it in the hospital. They sent, after I told them about the MK Ultra thing, I knew they were going to send a shrink. Well, she's not really a shrink, but she does the test, and you need the test, especially if you had brain damage and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That all makes sense.
She said, we're testing. She's asking me questions and that about different things, and she says, you're definitely brilliant. You got most of these all right. That's amazing. You come up, you're out of a 10-day coma. You can barely find your own face, and you're getting all of these right. You're definitely bright, very brilliant. she says, I says, well, I says, that's a downgrade then. I says, because before this, I was a genius.
Right.
I got a THD in theology. I got a PhD in cultural anthropology, bachelor's in, a little bachelor's in science for programming and stuff like that. Master's ranking in martial arts. It's kind of like, I'm a go driven kind of personality. I don't stop. And she comes back, a couple hours later, and she's got the genius folder. It's a stack like this, and she pulls the questions. And now I'm a little more alert and up, and I got every one. So it's
there
like
you go. Yeah.
It's like all the brain damage, and there's some. You can still see a little of the sagging on the left side. Yeah, you look at some of my pictures, you'll notice the left side sags a bit.
I can't see it right now, but I'm taking your word for it. It must be pretty, subtle.
Well, for months and years afterwards, I'd look in the only way I can tell when I'm smiling that both sides curl up is if I'm doing it in a mirror. If I, like when I, did it for my passport, the right side is up, the left side is kind of down because I don't know that it's,
Yeah, it's not a real smile when you're doing that, I guess,
yeah,
sir.
It's kind of crooked.
Right.
Yeah, it was a lot worse, but it's gotten better over the years. Being in martial arts, I was also ambidextrous. So when the left side took a hit, I would work the left side twice as much as the right, as I was healing and everything to try to get as much of it back as I can. I don't have it all back, but pretty good.
Man, you're looking pretty good. And like I said, I'm in this one group with Nate Gray, and I had seen that he had interviewed you, I guess a couple of months ago or something like that. And I'm never gonna ask you to comment on any of these other people in the genre, and in the super soldier this, super soldier that. I'm interested in your story, and there's also we don't comment too much on other people.
In the decades since this program first started, I'm about what you'd expect to see. When the Nazis are looking for the perfect soldier and their little Ultrakrieger at tall.
Do you have
blonde,
children?
blue-eyed.
Do you have children
They
that you know
used
about?
to parade me around to community functions instead. I was going to a public school, and I had the highest GPA in my school, the highest GPA in the next school I went to. Take me out of that, the highest GPA. I was standard bearer in every school I went to. When I went to 27 school, that was when they did spy school. The standard bearer there, my GPA was so far high, he was no longer standard bearer, so now he was one of my enemies. I thought I was going to fail spy school.
Oh my gosh!
I actually come out on top.
Yeah.
But I thought I really didn't know till the very end. It was rough going because I moved over to school not since the beginning of the year, so they were already established.
The pecking order.
Everybody had their things. I was the new kid, all by myself, tall, blonde, predominantly non-white neighborhood too. So that don't win you no brownie points.
That makes you tough real quick, doesn't it? I hear.
Oh yes, yeah. I thought people want. I know people that had bad things and their prejudices all can get out, and it's kind of like. But I've seen the best and the worst of these people. It's like I love them one way or the other. They're bad. They're bad. I don't care. I'll do the same to a white boy.
Yeah,
actually, it might be worse to a white boy because they give us a bad name. I hate it when somebody treats somebody black bad, and then they come around and they see me, and you're just going to treat me bad too. And I want to go. I slapped that white guy that did that to him.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I learned a lot about races being in prison and shit like that. And of course, prison is very racial. I mean, it's in a bad way. You know what I mean? But at the same time, you have growth. There's growth.
The thing that separates you in one way, whether it's your politics, your gender, your color. Whether you're a light-skinned black or a dark-skinned black.
Or quadroon, octoroon, yeah.
Or white like an Italian or a Mediterranean. Every little difference. Are you blue-eyed? Are you brown? If it's not one thing, it's another. And it's kind of like, that is total craziness. That is total mind control to turn around and judge the entire world badly as God shortchanged everybody but you because they're not like you.
Right. And the big difference that's coming up that I think that if there is some type of civil war here in the United States, it's going to be over beliefs, what you believe. So when they're pointing the gun at you, do you believe this? Do you believe that?
Do you believe you have the right to free speech? Do you believe that you can do this and that? Do you believe that you should be taking that medical marijuana for your seizures and not taking that poison they gave you before that gave you all those nasty side effects and almost killed you?
Right.
Do you believe, you know, yeah.
Do you
if
believe
it's
your
not
children
one
should be
thing, it's
vaccinated? Do you
another.
believe in
And that's another
chemtrails?
reason why I also
Do you
want to
believe in
train
aliens? Yeah.
people. And I want to train this guy. He's pretty stable. He's been, you know, following the truther thing for quite some time, and he's got a lot of his facts straight. And he's a good kid. And we're going to have him over for a few weeks, few months, whatever. And I'm going to train him and kind of give him my own version of spy school and ninja school.
I want to hear more about that, and let me just ask you off the cuff, based on how, I know you haven't seen the video yet or anything, neither have I, but based on how things went today, would you consider doing another show with me?
Sure. I do these. The idea is to get the word out. I want you to check. Do check me out. People
I
drive.
know who you are, bro.
Go into that hospital all the time. My daughter had her preemie baby in there. Well, it's the best hospital to do it. But do you know where they got that information from?
Where?
And it happened right there in that hospital. They did to us babies. The things they did to us. And now they do that to other. Well, they don't do that to other people's children, but they, you know, people benefit from it and some of it, but a lot of it. Okay, why aren't everybody else's bones hardened like mine? Why aren't your children being made brighter and more of your kids going to college, and physicists and doctors and math whizzes and stuff like that, and all the other things, all the things that I survived? Well, I found out some of the things I survived not because of me, because these others,
divine protection,
the people that look like me,
yeah.
And that I found that was like too much to believe that a bunch of tall blonde people from a B science fiction movie are following me around in a 300-foot in diameter flying saucer.
Yeah.
And when I get shot up and blown up too damn bad to crawl out of it, they patch me up, put me on my feet, and stick me somewhere near where I can find help. Something happens. And I recover in like record breaking. This time it happened in a hospital and it's kind of like, all right, it's just, honestly, before I could be, nah, that didn't happen. That can't happen. That's impossible. I can't argue that no more.
Yeah. And you know,
for the best reason.
Yeah. I'm really resonating with what you're saying right now because, you know, I haven't even been through 100th or 1000th of what you've been through. But then again, compared to the normal average American citizen, I've lived by choice or by design, whatever it is, a life of extreme violence. And there's definitely times when I definitely, you know, should have, you know, fighting 6 men at the same time and basically getting killed. And then one of, you know, they run away in terror and one of them shits their pants. You know what I mean? That wasn't me that did that. And so I felt like I had a monster or an angel or something that was protecting me or something like this. And I don't know what it was, but I had these psychics on the show recently, and this guy was actually saying that it was a Bigfoot. There's like a Bigfoot.
You know, the last time you'll find this very interesting. The last time I heard talk like that, I was sitting around a fire with a bunch of mercs down in Mexico, and they were telling me very similar things. We all had similar experiences from some other thing. You're going out at dark. You're going out to do hits. You're dealing with people that got so much firepower and got their own private armies and stuff like that. You know, and you're out there, and it's not like death riding by your side like in the cowboy movies. No. Death is actually holding my hand, taking me there, and then saying sick 'em and then waving grizzly pom-poms while I'm doing the job.
Yeah. And let me throw this idea at you because this is just only my imagination. This is only just imagination. But I go to these foreign countries and explore these megalithic ruins and stuff like this. But I take these film crews and stuff. Well, I always end up getting separated on purpose on certain nights, and I just have weird dreams on that night. You know what I mean? They're like I'm running through the streets. I've got a gun. You know what I mean? It's weird. You know what I mean? What's really going on?
And sometimes Yeah. It's
I mean, what
know
the fuck is
exactly
going
what you're
on?
talking about.
But
'cause
I'm not the type of guy I'm not the guy that they send in like you.
Yeah, me, it was kind of on purpose. They had a plan and a design, and from the Nazis on. And the Nazis said, even von Braun said, they got this stuff from, these other tall blonde real stuff. And it's like I say, there's some good Nordic blondes, and there's some Nordic blondes that we might not really want to be under their thumb.
Yeah, I'm more of a negotiator, I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To give you the last deal or whatever, the last offer. I'm
learning to do more that way. Normally, I would say I'd be, an executioner that makes house calls, an expert assassin. Wow, I just remembering the trip to Istanbul those years ago. Man, I met some assassins. I got picked up, not by the cops, the Hashishim.
Oh, wow.
You're an assassin. You're working their territory. The oldest freaking kill in the damn human race, And it's like, there I am. Oh, wow. I had a great time, though. I mean, it wasn't a party or...
You didn't have seven virgins.
But it was really cool. They were really good people. I had a great time, a lot of hashish and great Turkish coffee and conversations about algebra, about God, about...
That's awesome, man.
It was a beautiful experience.
That's awesome.
I didn't think I was coming home that time.
Oh, wow.
But,
that's amazing.
They knew what I did, where I was, and then I was there, and and they kind of put me through a little hoodoo, and believe me, with the drugs, it was very convincing. By the time I was waking out of it, I was in a Turkish coffee shop sitting with two guys that were hashish with a hookah. And I love coffee, I love Turkish coffee. Those samovars, what a time I had!
Oh man, John,
I got to meet some fantastic people.
Oh, you've had an amazing life.
I got to tell you,
amazing life, man. And let me tell you, I think we really got a good interview here. We've been talking for 2.5 hours, and so I'm going to get several episodes out of this. And let me tell you, I thank you, man.
Pictures, slides, and stuff. If you need anything.
I do, and I am putting these ones pertaining to when I'm editing it and what we were talking about. Yes, I'm definitely, with your permission, going to include these.
Sure. Oh, all right. Anything on my page, you'll notice a photo album. It's huge on Facebook, and there's all kinds of things that a lot of documentation, pictures of Building 400, all this other kind of stuff.
Right, and see,
it's all there, and it's all
my audience is a little bit more advanced.
Even my book rigs thing are free to, you can't charge. You can't put it out there and charge money just for that. The fact that you're doing that, you charge money for what you did.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us about your products that we can buy.
Nothing is for sale. You're free to use it.
Oh, wow.
I am responsible for what I know. That's why I do this. It's kind of like, if you don't know, you have no idea. Look, you find out, you see how deep the rabbit hole is. You'll understand something. Being forewarned is forearmed. People like me exist. I'm I thought I was on my way. I never thought I'd live this long. Nobody's got a reason to suspect that. But, to look into these, it is very, very important. It is real. There's stuff going on, and it's stuff you can check out. You're never going to see, we had John Stormm in here as a baby from this, that. They black out the names. There's freedom of information. There's over 10,000 pages of this stuff.
Yeah, and let me just tell you, I'm kind of I'm on the cutting edge with this conspiracy stuff. Nobody that watches my show is going to be doubting your story. They're beyond that. You know what I'm saying? I've got a more of a sophisticated audience.
There's pictures you can get of the old POW camp right there in Rochester. That part of Project Paperclip. Everything we describe, you will see all within like less than a mile of each other.
Yeah, and we weren't taught that in high school, were we?
No, well, I kind of grew up with it when I was in high school.
Right, exactly. You got a little bit of a different situation. Yeah. John Stormm, thank you so much for being our time and being part of my show.
Hey, you're welcome.
I look forward to speaking to you soon, sir.
All right. Well, have a good one.
Thank you, man. All right.